Hello everyone, and welcome back to Living Wisdom and Dharma World. Today's story is not merely about a child, nor is it only about miracles or reincarnation. It is a story about vows that transcend time, about karma that ripens across centuries, and about how deep spiritual cultivation may quietly return to this world without announcement, without spectacle, sometimes even in the form of a small child. Today, we share the extraordinary Dharma journey of Prince Ngawang Jigme Jigten Wangchuck of Bhutan, a child said to carry the memory and vows of the great 8th century master Vairochana, one of Guru Padmasambhava's closest disciples. As we listen, let us not ask first, is this true? Instead, let us ask a deeper question the Dharma invites us to contemplate. If vows can cross lifetimes, how are we living ours today? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video to inspire others on their path of discovery. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your reflections may spark meaningful conversations and mutual growth. Together, let's start our exploration. A child who remembered before he learned. Bhutan is a land where the Dharma is not separate from daily life. From the king to the common people, many accept rebirth not as theory, but as lived reality. It was within this culture that Prince Ngawang Jigme Jigten Wangchuck of Bhutan was born on June 23, 2013. Before he could speak, he began forming precise hand gestures, calm and deliberate, unlike ordinary play. At first, adults smiled and passed it off as a child's imagination, but with time they noticed something subtle. These were not random movements. They were mudrās, ritual hand seals used in tantric practice. When images were compared, the family discovered with astonishment that the gestures matched those associated with Vairochana, the great translator. Already, we are reminded of a Dharma principle. Habitual tendencies do not disappear at death. What is practiced deeply becomes the mind itself. Speech from a deeper memory. When the child learned to speak, he sometimes recited passages no one could understand. Learned monks later confirmed that these were Buddhist sutras spoken naturally without instruction. Their meaning was simple yet vast. May hearts be peaceful. May all beings dwell in harmony. May the world be filled with friendship and calm. This is important. Not power, not authority, not identity. What returned first was compassion. The Dharma tells us what we cherish most, we carry forward. I am Vairochana, identity or responsibility. At a royal gathering, the child stood before elders, pointed to himself, and calmly said, I am Vairochana. He repeated it 3 times. For the adults present, this was unsettling. But from a Dharma perspective, this moment is often misunderstood. In Buddhism, recognizing a former life is not a claim of status, but an acknowledgement of unfinished vows. To remember a past life is not to glorify the self, it is to accept responsibility for what still must be fulfilled. The youngest monk and the weight of vows. After careful consultation with senior monks, the royal family made a difficult but reverent choice. The child would enter monastic life. At only 3 years old, he completed complex ordination rituals, 9 full prostrations, precise movements, unwavering focus without instruction. The Queen Mother later reflected, he is the youngest monk ever ordained by our central monastic body, and the first royal to renounce worldly life. From the Dharma's view, this was not loss, it was continuity. Who was Vairochana? A lesson in suffering and perseverance. Vairochana, the master remembered by the child, was not celebrated during his lifetime. He was persecuted, falsely accused, exiled, imprisoned, and tortured. Yet, he did not abandon the Dharma. Even when confined in dungeons, attacked by fear and physical pain, he continued to recite sutras, to meditate, to hold unwavering faith. Eventually, even his enemies were transformed. Here we see a central Buddhist teaching. The true test of realization is not comfort, but adversity. Compassion revealed under suffering is genuine. Returning to the places of practice. At age 6, Prince Ngawang Jigme traveled to Tibet with his family. Though it was his first visit in this lifetime, he moved through sacred sites as though returning home. At caves where Vairochana once practiced, the child identified details absent from historical records. He corrected misunderstandings, distinguished true practice sites from later legends, and sat in deep meditation with effortless composure. At one cave, he knelt before the statue of Vairochana and wept uncontrollably. Not fear, not pain, but recognition. Those present later said the atmosphere felt as though time had folded inward. Tears that teach the Dharma. One moment stands out profoundly. Due to scheduling limits, the group could not visit one particular cave described by the child as the most important place of his former practice. Hearing this, the boy wept openly and said, "That was the best place. I practiced there for a very long time." Why is this significant? Because his sorrow was not about loss of scenery, it was about unfulfilled intention. The Dharma reminds us, the deepest attachments are not to pleasure, but to places where awakening once unfolded. The Queen Mother's reflection on rebirth. Later, the Queen Mother wrote, "Death is not an ending. It is the beginning of another journey." She emphasized that rebirth is shaped by virtue, compassion, sincerity, and conduct. Liberation is not accidental, it is cultivated. Those who purify the mind completely, she wrote, need not return at all. Closing reflection. So what does this story offer us, not as spectators, but as practitioners? It reminds us that vows do not expire with the body. It tells us that practice leaves imprints deeper than memory. Compassion is the truest sign of realization, and liberation begins in ordinary moments now. Whether or not one believes in reincarnation, the Dharma message remains unchanged. How we think, speak, and act today is already shaping tomorrow's world and perhaps future lives. Thank you for joining us on Living Wisdom and Dharma World. If you found this teaching helpful, please like, subscribe, and share so others can benefit from the Dharma. Feel free to share your reflections in the comments below. May this story inspire you not to seek past lives, but to live this one awake. May all beings awaken to true peace and liberation.